My highlight for the day at Chateau Lacheze was the family feel that we got. We weren't just touring an old historic building, but we were invited into someone's home. And you don't get that anywhere else but the Ultimate Wine Fantasy. So, yeah, it was great. It was great. It was so nice just, yeah, it was a homey feeling.
A lot of people ask us, when we talk about the Ultimate Wine Trip, they say, well, what's the difference between your wine trip and a typical wine tour? I mean, I've been on a wine tour before, but wouldn't you all agree that this is not a wine tour?
Definitely.
It's just so much more than a wine tour. It's an experience, and I think today proves that it was an amazing experience that you can't get anywhere else.
It's an old friend's.
Between the back row of coach on an international flight, the back row against the toilet, to first class. I mean, it's just that. My most memorable moment today was actually at lunch and talking to Caroline and really learning about her family and what it's been like to grow up with, that estate, and whether it's a burden or just a joy, or what the custom is. Because we look at her and say, oh my gosh, are you so lucky to live here? But with that comes a lot of responsibility. So it was really interesting learning a lot about that. And the whole rest of the day was the highlight too. It's hard to pick out one moment. So.
The other difference between this tour and a lot of tours is that the places that we went, not only are they the homes of the people that own the vineyards and things like that, but the actual people that own the vineyards are the ones that are taking us around. They're explaining their history and their heritage and their kids and how their family grew their estates and things like that. It's not a person that works for a company that's explaining everything. It's the people and their passion about their entire heritage, and so it's very, very, very important, I think. And,
Absolutely.
And for me, this isn't something that I would normally do, and I'm very, very happy to be here.
You cannot get this on any wine trip. You cannot get the behind the scenes, you cannot get the connections and the friendships. There's nothing like this in the world. You can go on any wine trip you want, but when you come on the Ultimate, it's what it is. It's the Ultimate because it's the behind the scenes, the personal relationships because of Yves that he has with everyone. So there's nothing like it. There's no wine tour anywhere that even comes close. And that's coming from James Malinchak, who's on ABC's Secret New England. Here's the thing that blew me away too, is how long Yves has known some of these people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like
40 years.
Yeah.
45 years?
Yeah.
So there's nobody else that does any wine tour that could put you behind the scenes and in touch with these people.
Yeah.
And they don't open their homes or chateaus or wineries to anybody but Yves. That's the difference between riding in an old Nova, which is like all the other wine trips, and then cruising in a Rolls Royce. This is the Rolls Royce of all wine experiences.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I have two amazing highlights from today. First, it would have to be sharing Chateau Lacheze and the wonderful garden, the most amazing garden I've ever seen, and dining right from that garden. And the incredible food and the incredible cheeses, that would be my top highlight of the day for sure. The wine was fantastic, but we expect the fantastic wine on the Ultimate Wine Fantasy experience, but the food was amazing. The second great experience was looking back in the bus and seeing all of them asleep.
Today we stopped in the cellar. We stopped in the cellar first, but then when we went up, I don't know if you heard her say this, when we went into the garden at the very top, she actually locked the gate behind us.
Yes, she did.
She said no one comes in here, and she waited for everyone to walk through, and she locked the gate and carried the key with her because we were in a private area that no one gets to go.
What I liked were the little simple things, and they're not simple. They're extremely elegant, but the things that you wouldn't expect, like to pick up the silverware and realize that it has the family crest. Obviously, we're at a restaurant. This doesn't have the family crest, but you're eating from silverware that's been handed down from generations. The one plate was they're hand painted plates with their monogram, and you flip them over, and they're dedication to whoever painted them, to the plates that are the Harvard, or what's it's called, Havard, the French plates that have been handed down from generation to generation.
When you were talking about the hand painting and the crest and things like that, I know this is something else in the chateau that the home that we were in. Actually, right when everybody was in that one room in line, there was a hat rack, but the hat rack was actually the antlers from from their family from I think the one I saw was from 1857, and then 1859, and all the deer and all the antler and all the racks were actually on a hat. It looked like a hat and a clothes rack. It had like 1, 2, 3, 4. It had like 6 of them, and they were all used. And then each one was inscribed on the year and who hunted and everything like that. So the things that you were talking about, the hand paintings and everything, it was pretty interesting. And then to turn the corner, and then to see some of the home today things where they had like comics and things like that up.
Yeah.
It was interesting. You go from heritage to the present because it's their home. Yeah, it was interesting.
And there are homes, and then there are
Yeah. The other day when we went into the one chateau, they actually took us to the private stock in their private wine cellar where nobody gets to see.
oh, nobody gets access to where we
No.
were at.
Yeah.
It was,
Only
it was-
because of Eve.
Yeah.
So today was quite remarkable, and my favorite part of today was when I realized that what I was experiencing was the transformation of the impossible into the actual, into the possible. Being on the Ultimate Wine Tour, if someone had told me when I was a little girl that I was going to come to France and be invited into these castles, I would have said, "You're crazy." But here I am. I'm here. I'm in all these castles. We're only halfway through the trip. And I'm not even just being invited in, but being welcomed as part of the family with my friends and eating food that's been prepared by the people that own these places. It's magical. It's magical. I would recommend it.